In this video, you will be following two British anglers on one of their many trips abroad in pursuit of big catfish. I am one of those anglers. My name is Kevin Maddocks, and my companion on this trip is my old friend and catfish expert, Bob Baldock. We invite you to join us as we leave the port of Dover on the ferry which will take us across the English Channel to Calais. From there, we will be driving across France to Tournou on the River Saône, where we hope to catch some of the big French catfish, or silures as they are known in France. After a short stay at Tournou, we will be driving to the south of France, and there we will cross the Pyrenees into Spain, where our destination will be the mighty River Ebro. During this trip, we hope to catch some very big catfish, and to show you the methods that have proved so successful for us in the past. While in Spain, we hope to break the Spanish record for catfish, or siluro as they call them, which prior to our departure stood at 99 pounds. We hope that you enjoy this journey and that we can convey some of the excitement of fishing for these magnificent fighting fish. Both of us had been fishing for catfish in Britain for a number of years, and although impressed by their excellent fighting qualities, we were frustrated by their moderate size and poor distribution. Therefore, it was inevitable that we should look to the continent to sample the full potential of this fine sporting fish. The Wells catfish is not indigenous to England and was first introduced from Eastern Europe about 100 years ago. Since then, it has become established in about 40 waters, mainly in the counties of Bedfordshire and Buckinghamshire. Its Latin name is Silurus glanis. It thrives in warm water and is Europe's largest freshwater fish, having been recorded at a weight of more than 600 pounds in Russia. However, because of our cool climate, its growth is limited to only 2 to 3 months a year, thereby restricting its average growth rate to a mere £1 a year. From the start of October, feeding decreases to the extent that fishing for them is not usually worthwhile. But the main attraction of Silurus glanis is the fantastic fight that this long, powerful fish puts up. Catfish in England tend to have long periods of inactivity. It is only when the desire to feed is triggered off that it becomes an active cruising predator. Once on the feed, the catfish is not generally a hard fish to catch, but it is because of these long periods of resting that catfishing is so slow in the UK. We see here Bob with a typical English cat of around the size that can be expected in our country. It weighed 10¼ pounds and was caught from my own water, Withy Pool, in the heart of catfish country. It picked up Bob's legged squid just prior to this trip. On the continent, where water temperatures are higher, the catfish is much more active, feeding more frequently and for longer periods, and is therefore somewhat easier to catch. In France, Germany, and Eastern Europe, growth continues for about 6 months of the year, and in Spain, where the climate is warmer still, this fish grows for about 9 months of the year, achieving an amazing growth of up to 15 pounds a year. With these continental waters holding much bigger fish, it is not surprising that English anglers have started to look abroad for the exciting experience of hooking a huge catfish.
Paris 171k should take us about 4 hours from here to get down to Macon. It's an area we fished a fortnight ago and done extremely well. We'll be spending 2 or 3 nights here before moving on to Spain. I expect we'll fish exactly the same area as we fished a fortnight ago, and hoping to catch something a little larger than we did. We had fish to 70. We did see a French gentleman catch one that we think was close to 90 pounds. So we certainly hope we will connect with one of the bigger fish. We always bring baits with us, which is not against the regulations. Normally bring some tench and some carp, which we usually purchase from one of the local fish houses, which gives us a good advantage for the first few days.
Well, we're here on the River Saône, France. We left my house in Bedfordshire early morning yesterday, and we got to the Dover docks and caught the 10 AM boat. We had a nice meal on the boat, it set us up for the journey. We drove down from Calais to the main auto route to Paris, which took us about 4 hours. We hit quite a lot of traffic at Paris around the ring road, what they call the Paris Peripherique, and it was a Sunday, busier than I expected. Saw quite a few accidents, which is quite normal for the ring road when it's busy. About 6 accidents in about 10 minutes. And once we got clear of Paris, it was a nice steady run down the autoroute, which is signposted Lyon all the way. We came through Chalon, and unfortunately we got here quite late last night. In fact, just fractionally after dark. So Bob and I just hastily cast out. He wasn't expecting a lot because everything was in a hurry, and nothing happened. And this is the first full day. Bob fished last night from the boat, quickly rowed across the other side, just so we could cover two different areas. And the river's 200 to 300 yards wide here, but we don't normally fish the centre channel. It's 25 to 30 foot deep in the middle, and the catfish seem to feed more on the shelf than the shallows. Bob was fishing up to my left, using paternoster style setups from the boat, which we'll be using in Spain quite a lot. I'm using live baits on 2 rods, just Link Legend, with a poly ball setup, which also we'll be using in Spain. I've got the left hand rod to cast out yet, which I'm going to use leeches on. It's a bait that's not really used much in England. I discovered it in Germany. They're called blue teagles, and they're the old medicinal leeches which are still used throughout Europe in hospitals and places like that, but they stopped using them in England many years ago. And what a jolly good bait they are. At Snack of the Sea in Germany, they catch a lot of fish, and I took some back to England recently. I'd caught some catfish at Snack of the Sea in Germany on the leeches. In England I caught some catfish last week on the same leeches, and I decided to bring them on this trip. I got them here, the same ones. So they've caught catfish in 2 different countries. Keeping my fingers crossed that we catch here in France too. So I'm just going to put 3 leeches on one hook. They're funny old things. They sort of grab you. Just get hold of a couple. We got the right amount without even getting hold of any. Right. It's best to fish these on a polyball setup because they tend to bury themselves in the bottom. So what I've got here is just a polyball on the main hook link, but I've got a stop knot there just to keep it up by the hook. I used to attach the poly ball with a small piece of nylon to the eye of the hook, but the blue teagles tangle up the 2 lines and get in rather an awkward mess. And I found this the best way to actually put the poly ball on the line. It might be tempting to put the poly ball on the hook shank here, but it's not advisable because it can impede hooking catfish. You want this gape nice and clear. Just get that one off my hand. Right, these have to be hooked at the thick end where the main sucker is, but just lightly at the edge of the leech. Not going to damage it too much. Just hooked it at the side there. If you hook them badly, they sometimes bleed, and then they don't live so long. There's one. 2. Very tough skin. Bit of a disadvantage when you're trying to get the hook through, but you can catch catfish on these and they're still on the hook and you can reuse them time and time again. There's 3 on there. When they're in the water, They swim like a snake, and it's the unusual vibrations that catfish find hard to resist. But you must fish them with a polyball. Very, very good catfish bait. So we're going to fish here tonight, and tomorrow morning we'll be off to Spain, River Ebro. So hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, we can get a French fish before we leave. Right, I'm just going to put this one out. Not too far. It's on a linked ledge it's set up. Just running lead. Fairly light line on the lead there because there's a lot of locks out here. If the lead gets stuck, at least it can break off. We'll see if the French silure like the old leeches. I'll just put this out about 20 yards. About 10 foot deep out there. These leeches are a very good bait for the sake, and they live for a long, long time on the hook. You could fish a whole week with them and they'd still be perfectly alright. Make sure the bait runner's on so the fish can take line. And we're all ready to catch, hopefully, a French silure. Just after a barge had passed, I experienced what appeared to be a drop back bite. Not sure if it was the undertow from the boat or a fish of some sort, I decided to strike just in case. I could just about feel a fish on the end, but the line was grating on a snag. I had no alternative but to call for Bob to come to my assistance with the boat.
Yeah. Have you had any joy with it?
It's moved a little bit. There's definitely a fish on there, but that's all I can say. Have you got the net on board?
Yes, I've got the big net. But we'll see if we can, if we get it free, we'll see if we can row back to the bank. It's unbelievable, windy.
I see you get blown away, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you just want me to jump on?
Yeah. It's unbelievable. All right.
Yeah. If I keep pressure on it, it'll help, won't it?
I hope so.
Oh, I think there's something. Might be something on here, Bob.
I hope so. All this breaking my neck.
I don't know if that's us drifting or a fish going. Can you go that way more, Bob? Hang on, there's something's happening here.
Yeah, my arms are coming out of socket. I know what's happening.
It was grating and flicking off something, but it's... I wonder if it might pay me to let it go slack. Oh, look.
What?
Yeah, there's something on there, mate.
Is it moving?
Yeah. But I think it's snagged still. Definitely something on there. I've got a feeling we're into a decent fish here, mate.
Well, I reckon bloody do something with it because my arms are beginning to...
Do you want to... Let me just make a decision whether
well, it'd be best
we can go back to the bank.
It'd be best if we get to the bank, if you've actually got... If you don't think it's no longer snagged.
Oh, I don't know. I think we've got it. Start to head back towards your rods. I think that's done the trick. Head back over here.
Yeah. I got a forward and a reverse, just like that, mate. 5 of each.
Yeah, we've got it, mate. Unless you want to head it from the boat, of course.
I prefer to do it from the bank because this net we've got is a bit huge for this boat, really. Am I still winning on the fish?
Yeah, you're winning. You're playing the boat and the fish, mate. The fish is definitely off the snags, no problem at all. Just hope the hook holds.
Right, you get ready to jump off then.
I'll come back here to you. Right.
You off?
Yeah. It was a good fish, mate.
Yeah, well, don't play it too lightly, mate.
Yeah, but my line might be frayed.
I know how a Johnson 10 horsepower feels now.
It's going across the river again, Bob.
Oh no, don't let it get snagged. Keep its head up, mate.
Come to Daddy. It's coming fairly close now, it's about 12 foot out. Bloody hell, mates. Excuse the language. Here she comes. Oh, there it is.
No. Oh, it's definitely 40, 30. Just pull it up to the block, mate.
Lovely, well done. Oh.
Yeah. Can you just grab the handle?
Yeah. As you were, yeah. All right.
Yeah. I'll get the way sling.
Okay. A silure with a taste for leeches. Move your fingers out of the way.
Oh dear.
You can go down a little bit if you want.
Yeah, don't want to go down too much.
One mark under 40.
39.
39. Let me just check that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Great.
Well done, mate. Towards me. That's it. Oh.
Whoops, hang on. Oh, tail's moving about. How's that?
Not bad. Can you just tilt it slightly towards me?
There was a Frenchman coming along. Probably want to knife it or something. All right?
Okey-doke, mate. Well done.
Let's just hold him for a minute till he's ready to go. Very lucky silure. Lucky a Frenchman hasn't caught you, mate. Oh, we've got plenty of life, Bob.
Yeah.
Wrong way, that way. That's it.
Well done, mate.
Right, off to Spain. Well, we've just left the River Soane and we're just rejoining the motorway near Macon. Coming to the toll gate, Bob's going to pick up a ticket. We only caught the one fish, unfortunately, the 39 pounder. We were expecting 1 or 2 more runs, but that's catfishing. Got the ticket? Yep.
Yep.
I shall definitely go back to the Soane. It's got a lot of potential. And there's so many places to fish there. There must be some super spots. But now we're on our way to Spain as planned for another 4 or 5 days in Spain. border now. Had another 20 minutes. We should have been here an hour and a half ago, but we had a bit of bother with the trailer. One of the tyres started to break up. The spare wheel wasn't quite the right wheel, so we had to turn off a Montpelier and find a place to fix the tyre. And we had to wait a while they changed over tyres. In fact, we were quite near Lake Salagoo, but I don't think any of us wanted to carp fish. And we lost about an hour there, and we got back on the road again, and we're on our way now towards the border. The Pyrenees Mountains are in the distance. España. Passports up to the window, I think we're okay. I expect you to know what to do. That's it, we're through. No problem. Look out, catfish, here we come. We arrived here in Spain late last night, unfortunately a bit later than expected. We had a problem with the trailer in France, so we weren't able to cast out until 2 or 3 hours after dark. So bit of a disappointment. Nothing happened last night. We discovered in the night and this morning that there's quite a bit of flow on the river, which means that we may have to do most of our fishing from the boat. We're fishing an area that produced some good fish for us earlier this year and last year. We've had quite a few fish, 16, 70 pounds out here in the past, so we know it's a pretty good area. We'll be fishing this afternoon out 40 yards or so into shallower water. We've got the original riverbed close into the bank here, going down to 25, perhaps 30 feet. And we normally fish the shelf or the shallower area just beyond the channel. So we'll be fishing out here this afternoon and tonight from the boat. Whilst we're here, we're obviously hoping to catch some very big catfish for the cameras. But fishing as it is, who knows? We'll just have to try. Our after dark sessions from the boat only produced a few small cats. There was no action from the bank until the morning of the third day, when Bob hooked an even smaller fish from the bank.
I've got to move back towards my net. I do have problems with these banks. Always have an assortment of nets because you get big ones and you get small ones. I won't weigh it. As you can see, it's about £5, I suppose. Bring it up here and unhook it in the net and return it. Got a little bit of grass here, this is handy.
I must admit this is the smallest one I've caught, I think, when I've been in Spain. Just a small one, I'll say about £5. I'll return him. And there he goes. Well, as I said, I was using a paternoster, sunken paternoster, sliding float which goes up to the stop knot. The hook length, which is £35 breaking strain, and the length that came off here onto a 4-ounce lead was £8 breaking strain, hence that it's missing now, which is an ideal thing in these rocky conditions. It breaks away so you don't have the problem with the lead. Just a big 3-way swivel. It's a sea fishing one, which is ideal for these very big fish that we have here, and quite a successful method. I've not really caught a very big cat on it out here, up to about £40, but a nice method. Normally the lead length is about 18 inches below the hook length, so you can see about 24 inches in all. A lot lighter line for breaking off. Well, I'm going to pack up this rod now and have some breakfast before the sun gets up and the flies get too bad. And I'll have another little go this evening and see what we can catch then. Let's hope we can catch into a bigger one.
Later that day, we spent an hour or two free-lining a live bait from the boat. Mine was soon snapped up by our first reasonable fish. You join us towards the end of the fight. Well, that's typical of these cats. Came straight
To the boat.
to the boat. Don't know. Look at this. It's about the size of the one we had in France, probably 30-ish.
I always have trouble with this thing.
You can see why the Spanish use gas. Right, it's ready, Bob. Got it? Well done. Over here.
I'll go and get the scale, shall I?
Yeah, I'll just look after the fish if you like. Move your hands away. Oh, it's not that big, it's just over 30. It's off the ground there. 32. 32. Yeah. Beautiful colour. I'm always worried about letting them go. Sometimes they kid you, I think. They're going to roll over. It's only because you've got hold of them, I think.
When you see them like that, you don't realise that they've got the potential to go to over £600.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. Yeah. I always pays to hold them that little while.
Great. The next day, my old German friend Klaus Winter visited us.
This is.
He was a welcome sight, and his local knowledge of the river is invaluable.
So,
Hello.
Kevin.
Pleased to see you.
Yeah, right on. Oh man,
This is my friend
that's a
Bob.
long way to come over here.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is Bob.
Yeah?
This is Klaus Winter.
Hey,
Yeah.
but this rear, you know, if you see the people fishing with that, it's really interesting. Because this is around the line, you know, and they have nothing that real,
No rod.
no road and to put up.
And they
that
use
way,
it to
yeah.
bring
Wind
the
it around.
Yeah, right.
for carp. Perhaps I'll try it in England.
Yeah, you might be.
Yeah, you're going up to try it, you know.
You might be able to catch them.
Yeah, and this is for the catfish over here. The
This is what I want to
this is
see.
you know, the German people going up to fish with that hook. Especially, you know, I made up for the dark run line, you know, and I got it a
Yeah.
little longer, you know, and got over here, you know.
What breaking strain is this?
Oh, it's about 25 kilos.
Oh, 50 pounds
Yeah,
approximately.
about 50 pounds. Yeah, that's good. But it's not the best for a station for that role. You know. Better, you know, a multiplier.
Yes, multiplier,
Yeah.
This is a fixed ball, what we
Yeah,
call in
yeah,
England,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's lovely line.
And it's all telescopic.
Can we
Yeah.
open it?
Yeah, sure.
Perhaps we can have a look at the rod.
Just the right colour for Kevin, this.
Okay. Can you go over there, Bob, and pull it down? Can I have a feel?
Yeah.
That sounds
Can you-
naughty. Can I have a fish?
Can you just go over that way a little bit more, Bob? So. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Can you get me one or two of these alive?
I
Alive?
can.
I would like to try them for bait. Yeah,
Oh, Kevin.
it's good.
Oh, Kevin. See, that are, you know, stay.
No.
No, my brought up that hooks, you know.
Still alive.
A little bit small, you know. Normally we use over here, you.
But still quite strong.
Yeah, it's strong.
Very interesting. These just little bits and pieces, yeah, and I think.
Just, yeah, just small pieces.
Ah, what's this? For Siluro
That's for
or bass
No.
or anything?
That's good. That's really good for Siluro
Siluro?
on
Yeah.
bikes. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, English anglers are starting
Yeah.
to use these more now,
Yeah.
aren't they? Very much like to try one of these.
Let's
If you
make-
can get me one, can you get me a live one?
Yeah,
Yeah?
sure.
Perhaps I can use one before the trip's over.
I can get one. Yeah.
Kevin
No
wants
problem.
another one so he can make a pair of shoes.
That's it.
That's,
Oh, it was nice to get that fish this morning. Well pleased. Seem to be struggling a bit this trip. Not getting the big fish that we normally get, are we?
no, I think if we move upstream a bit.
Well, up to the bend.
Yeah, for an
Where
evening session. See how we get on
Yeah. How long have we done here now?
there.
3 days, is it?
Yeah.
Something like that? I think we've given it long enough here, although we got that fish this morning up. I don't think the quantity of big fish are here.
And a couple of small ones yesterday, which you had a...
I had some in the evening from the boat, yeah. Just around the corner a bit, but
and that small one that high.
you had a small one yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think it's time we moved.
Yeah. See if we can find somewhere where there's some grass. And less flies, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we haven't got all that long left now, mate. It's your turn to get a decent one now.
We should start winning in a minute. Bill's a fair old fish. It's typical of these fish, as soon as you hook them, they dash at you and then they start to perform in close. Let's tighten up this a bit. It's just on a standard link-wedged carp. These are really beefy rods, they're 9'6" boat rods, 30-pound line. Oh, yes, he's really holding bottom, typical of these fish. Trouble is, there's the bloody wall just here. Not a wise decision to get here, actually. I'll keep 1 foot back. Just in front of us there.
You in, mate?
Yeah. I've got a few problems because it's coming up in these.
Which side of me do you want?
Rocks. Can you net it from that side and I'll see if I can bring him round?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Typical of these fish, they come right in and then you have all this hassle in close. Oh, you see, you look all right.
God, I can't see him very well, mate.
No, I'll see if I can get him up a bit. Oh, we ain't having none of that. I'm not quite used to these bloody reels on these.
I'm just pulling it out a little bit till you think she's ready. Is it a good one? Looks a reasonable one, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's not a huge one. It's certainly a 40, I would think. That's
It's so awkward here, isn't it?
That's typical of these fish, though, isn't it? To do it all right under the blooming rod.
Yeah.
Shall I?
See if we can get the head to the spreader block, Bob. I've got the front end in. Yeah, we got her. Yeah.
Oh, well done, mate.
Well done, mate.
If you just move your finger. 40 pounds. Yeah.
What, exactly?
Yep. Exactly.
All right, just take one on this. There we go. Try a different pose, because that's the Keith Lambert pose, which is
They're not very good.
We decided it doesn't look so good. I bet you're glad we moved, aren't you?
Yep.
I reckon hold it against your chest, Bob. I know you don't like to get dirty.
No, I'm not going to get it all over me. I've got 3 or 4 bloody days to do yet. I'm not bad.
The original
Right.
pose was better, Bob.
Let's get him back in anyway.
Right, I'm just going to run through 1 or 2 of the items of tackle which are suitable for bank fishing. First thing is rods. They're completely different. I'm using 11-foot rods here, compound action carbons, completely different from the boat rods, which are only 9.5 foot and fast taper. So these are true compounds. You need the length for casting. Obviously from the boat you don't need to cast so far. One disadvantage of these rods, of course, is that you don't get the fish in as quick as you would with the boat rods. You can buy compound carbons for around about 100, 125 pounds. These are made by Simpsons of Turnford, continental catfish rods. The reels I favour are the Shimano bait runners. They're absolutely perfect reel for this type of fishing, from boat or bank. The clutch is quite good on the front. In fact, it's very good. Well, I must emphasise though that these are not the current model. So the clutch is on the front. On the current model, the clutch is on the back. What you've got on here is a bait runner lever here, and you adjust the bait runner from this knob here. So you'll see this one's cast out. You'll see if I let that off, what happens is the flow of the river or the pull of the fish will keep taking line. If you've got a big bait on there, it will keep taking. And the beauty of these reels is you can just tighten that up until it matches the pull on the line, which is caused by the flow of the river and the bait. And then if it goes, it's a bite. Simple as that. If you don't use this type of reel, you've got to let the clutch right off and fish with the clutch undone, which is not really suitable. So that's the Shimano bait runner reels. I always use seal cast line. I find it very, very reliable. I get it in bulk spools like this. That's 31 pounds breaking strain, 1100 yards. Not very expensive. That'll last me a year. It'll last me 3 or 4 trips to Spain, 2 or 3 trips to France. Never let you down. Jolly good line. But like all things in fishing tackle, it's best to use what you're most confident with, and Maxima is quite suitable, and other types of lines. What I'm using here at the moment is 26 pound main line and a 31 pound hook link. I don't like to go below 30 pounds on the hook link, mainly because you could be playing a fish for a long, long time. And they've got that rough row of teeth at the front of the mouth, which can wear the area of line out above the hook. If the hook's 2 or 3 inches inside the mouth, this part of the line tends to get worn as it goes backwards and forwards across the mouth. So, nice thick durable hook link. Hooks obviously have to be very, very strong. This is the smallest I would use. That's about a 2.0. On the continent, that would be the smallest. My favourite sizes are 5 and 6.0, and even up to 12.0. Good makes are Partridge. They make several models which are suitable, and also some Mustad O'Shaughnessy type hooks. Very sharp and very strong. That's what's important about the hooks. Apart from that, most of the fishing is done with a sliding link ledger, rather like this. That's on a light line link so that it can break off if it gets tangled in a tree or rocks. Bead and swivel. The main thing to remember is use very strong tackle, and tackle that you know you can rely on. That's what's important. Apart from that, it's a matter of waiting for the fish to bite. Fish on! Got to be careful here because there's a lot of rocks in the margins. Oh. If there's not trees out in the middle, there's rocks in the margins. That's better. Oh, it's really hugging the bottom. I don't think it's a bad fish. Polyball's gone up the line a bit. Oh, there she is. Fighting backwards as usual. Oh, it's not a bad fish at all. Just let a bit of line out. Right. Trust me, it's just pick the most awkward swim on the river. Come on, get over that net. Oh, hello, mate. Didn't know you was behind me. Yeah, well, thought I had him then. He didn't like the feel of that net. Yeah, if you don't mind getting a boot full of water. It's not a bad fish. I just had him over the net, well, you probably saw.
Oh, river's come up well this morning.
Yeah.
Looks like it was dry here earlier on.
I thought I had him over the net then, here she comes. If I get back...
Yeah.
Right. It's coming up sort of head first like they do sometimes, that's the trouble.
Very deep water.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
If you get the net down, shall I try and bring him over or...?
Well, if I could see his tail first, mate.
Let me get up here. That's incredible, isn't it, how they can hold, look. The rod's bent double.
Give it a bit of welly, mate.
There she comes.
Can you guide her in?
Yeah. The body's down deep though, I think, Bob.
No, I've got the net down fairly deep now. Don't you worry, mate.
Well done, mate.
A few of these. They're quite... Right, you can grab the back end of this.
Who said they don't feed in the daytime? Lovely fish, isn't it?
Beautiful fish.
Some of the Claydon fish are this long. It's amazing, isn't it? 45 pounds at that length. Flies. Yeah, that took that really big bait I put out, Bob. You remember that one I cast out about an hour ago?
Yeah.
Headshot.
Right, mate, you slipping back in?
Yeah. Look at that, Bob. It looks like it's been bitten across there by another cat. I think I'm going to get wet. Ooh. Turned on my hand. Look at that.
Never mind, you won't die.
Worth it, isn't it? Except to get typhoid from the river. Yeah? Whoa. Whoa. Look at that. Right, just going to put another bait on. A small carp. Through the top lip. Piece of rubber band. Just stops the fish coming off the hook. Right, let's put this one out. Just put it out in front of me in the shallower water. That will do nicely. Impressive size and fight, that's the attraction abroad, isn't it?
It's, in Spain though, it's a bit special, isn't it? Let's be honest. There's an awful lot of very big catfish here. Probably up to about 150 pounds, we think.
Yeah, yeah, just a sprinkling of big ones, the original stocked fish. But it's a young fishery, isn't it? And this is certainly one of the fisheries of the future. It could possibly be one of the best fisheries in the world in 15, 20 years' time. Look at the temperatures. Even in December you can catch them.
That's right.
Quite amazing. And you've got, on a river like this, you've got such a variety. You've got big areas of shallows, deep channels. You've got that bank down there with all those overhanging trees. I mean, 400 or 500 yards of overhanging trees.
When I was here a couple of months ago, that particular area where those trees are was down about 3 metres. And you had all the trees right out in the water underneath that I never even thought was there. And you can imagine all the fish hiding underneath them.
All the catfish under them, yeah.
Well, we've had a couple this week from that area, haven't we?
Yep, yep. They love it under the old trees. They just, when they're not feeding, they just want to keep in the shade, don't they?
That's right.
And quite stubborn. They won't move out of there until they're ready, will they? No, I mean, that's what's nice about these places.
We've had quite a few fish from that area though, haven't we? On other trips.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. We're just off for an evening's fishing. In this part of the river you can see behind us. I'll be fishing directly out in front here. I believe Bob's going...
I'll be going a bit further down.
A couple of 100 yards downstream. Just before we go, we'd like to run through some of the baits and tackle that we're going to use. We'll be fishing tonight with live baits, and the way we retain them normally, Bob's got one of these Spanish nets, which are
Just retained in a nice wire mesh netting, which is collapsible. Cost about £15.
and it's got a flip top lid.
A flip top lid, put your baits in and it closes up automatically.
We tend to use small baits, carp or rudd seem to be the best. We've also caught on tench and roach, etc. The baits abroad tend to be very different from England. Most baits, catfish baits in England, are dead baits such as mussels, squid, liver, dead fish. But abroad, these big fish, their main diet seems to be live fish most of the time. Would you agree with that, Bob?
Oh, definitely, yes.
The rigs, there's only 3 or 4 rigs we use abroad, in France, Germany or Spain. A link ledger rig is quite a popular one with myself. Just got a rod here to show what I'm using this evening. There's a lead there that's running. Very nice and simple. Quite a large hook. This is about a 6.0, 7.0, which is ideal for one of the smaller carp, 5 or 6 inch. We use a rubber band after the bait's put on. I think pike anglers use those in England,
Yeah,
don't they?
that's right.
A little bit of rubber, just to stop the fish possibly coming off the hook over the barb. Most of the time in Spain, I use a version of Bob's polyball rig, but I put the polyballs actually on the line. But if you put them on the line, then you have to have a stop knot, otherwise the polyballs can go right up that end and not keep the live bait up in the water. It's a very, very good rig that Bob introduced to catfishing. Every time the live bait gets to the bottom and rests, the polyball brings it back up again, and it works down again, comes up again. It just keeps it working, because catfish feed mainly by vibration, certainly when they're hunting live fish. This is my other rod. I've got a 6-ounce bomb on this. Usually when we're boat fishing, you can see the way we've got these buzzers arranged. We'll put a rod on the boat in a minute to show you. We fish one way and one rod the other, so you're tending to fish one upstream and one downstream. And as there's quite a lot of flow in the river at the moment, my upstream rod has got a 6-ounce bomb on it. The only slight difference with the other one that I've already shown, this has got a slightly larger hook and a larger polyball, and it's just for one of the larger carp. The main thing with the polyball is it's got to be big enough to pull the fish off the bottom. Otherwise you're wasting your time. One other thing about the tackle is the knot that you use for attaching the hook or the swivels.
You just let that down.
What we're tending to do nowadays, those 2 knots on the swivel there and this one here, we're tending to put a little stop knot, so just an overhand knot in the end of the line first before tying a blood knot, if you like. But the knot I use is twice through the eye and 3 or 4 turns up the line, but I only do 3 or 4 turns up the line on purpose so that it actually slips, and then I'll let the knot slip until the overhand knot, which is in the end of the line, pulls up against the main knot. Then it's impossible for it to slip. Do you think of anything we might have not got here that we'd like to talk about on baits and rigs?
So just show them how the rod goes across the boat.
Yeah.
One across like that, obviously into the alarm, and the other one vice versa.
And that's how we fish. So you're quite close to your rods all the time, and just have the clutch set very light so the fish can actually take line with no trouble at all off the spool.
You don't actually need a buzzer really, it's just an optional,
That's
isn't
right.
it? The clutch on the reel makes quite a noise, and you've still got a lot of room in the boat to sit back and relax whilst waiting.
So very simple.
Very effective, isn't it?
That's right.
We're using rod clamps as well. You don't need those all the time, but if there's a lot of flow and you've got the clutch quite tight and you've perhaps got a little bit of a bend in the rod to hold current, and then a big cat takes a bait, it can be quite a pull on the rod. So sometimes we actually put the rod in these clamps.
Yeah, very good.
Sometimes we fish 2 in a boat, which is 4 rods. It's a little bit, it's got advantages and disadvantages, hasn't it really? One advantage is whoever doesn't hook the fish can quickly get an anchor up, get the other rods in. But the disadvantage, of course, is that you're in each other's way. 2 in a boat with all the tackle is quite a lot. For anchors, we tend to use locks on a rope. Got one here. You can use an ordinary anchor, but ordinary conventional boat anchors tend to need to be out at an angle, don't they, Bob? You know more about these things than I.
Yeah, I find these are far better for these type of river conditions that we fish in.
The main advantage of these is you can have the rope going straight up to the boat, so that when you're playing a catfish, you know exactly where that rope is. If it goes off at a 45-degree angle, you've got more chance of getting tangled up. If there's 2 of you on a boat, it's best to use 2 anchors. But if you're on your own, I prefer to then just use 1. With 2 of you on the boat, the other person can pull one of the anchors up as soon as a big cat is hooked. And with 1 anchor down, it's fairly easy to follow the fish. If it goes round or under the boat, if it goes under the boat, you can take the rod around, and it's not normally any problem. So well, we're basically using similar rods, aren't we?
Yeah.
What are they, 9.5 feet?
9.6, aren't they? Yeah.
Very strong rods. In a way, it spoilt some of the enjoyment for me. A 30-pounder on this rod, you can get it in 3 or 4 minutes. For me, one of the best bits of catfishing is the fight. They're such hard fighters. One that performs well can make every muscle in your body ache. And to me, that's real fishing. That's what the attraction is for me. And the other thing is obviously when you get the big fish in the boat or on the bank, very impressive. And really, this tackle is suitable for the 100-pounders. So we tend to get 20, 30-pounders in quite quickly, which is a shame in a way, but you've got to be realistic. We're here to catch the very biggest fish that we can. We've got big landing nets, obviously, but one of the problems from a boat, I won't set this up fully now, but you can imagine that with the pole on the end. You can see it's half filling this boat now. So that can be a problem. If there's 2 of you in the boat, no problem, because it can be set up while you're playing the fish. If you're on your own, it's got to be set up all the time. Retaining fish once you're on the bank, again, problems. Small fish up to 30 pounds or so, you can put them in a sack or a tube, pike tube or catfish tube. But fish of 40 plus, there's only one way to keep them in my mind, and that is to use what we call a stringer. Again, it's not a method used in England, but we've been shown it abroad, and it's definitely a good way of keeping them. There's 2 ways. Initially we used to make a very small hole in the jaw and put the stringer through a part of the jaw, the lower jaw, where a gaff would go. But now we're tending to put a stringer through the mouth and out of the gill cover. We've just started doing this, and we're inspecting every fish to see if there's any damage. And Bob's already done that with 1 or 2, and I have on the last couple of trips. And it looks as if it's going to be all right. So he's making a little hole. We use string of this sort of size, preferably nylon type rope or string. Otherwise they wear through a thin cotton one. That's if you want to keep the fish for photographing, etc. Better to try and take flash pictures and return them instantly, of course. But it's a jolly good way of keeping fish. You want a long stringer, at least 12 foot, and the catfish goes down onto the bottom, goes where it wants to go, and it rests. One thing you need to do on this venue, just change the subject slightly, is you need to catch live baits here. It's difficult bringing them from England. We have in the past occasionally put some in a bag and blown them up with oxygen. You're allowed to take the fish out of England, no problem there. But the long journey makes it difficult, doesn't it? Sometimes 16 hours, 18 hours, even from Calais to here. So you need to bring gear to catch small fish. And really, you want to catch them every day, nice fresh carp. The ones we've got here we caught this morning. And they'll last through the night, and possibly we'll be able to return them in the morning. Anyway,
shall we go and do a bit now?
I think we might as well go fishing, so I'll just go out here, not too far out. Got the main riverbed on the left as it's coming around the corner there, going off shallower to the right, so I'm going to anchor up on the sort of shelf out there and fish a variety of depths from 4 to 8, 10 foot. And you're going to go down the river?
I'm going to go down about 150 yards in a rocky area, which we've had a little look at, and I think there's potential of some big fish there, so I'll go and see what I can do down there. And hope to show you something a little bigger than we had previous. Later.
Right. Shall we go?
Right.
Okay. Right. We've got a couple of walkie-talkies on board as well, which are handy in case you have problems. If you're playing a fish for 4 or 5 hours and you decide you need a hand, or if you have an accident, I mean, you could lose both your oars over the side, anything like that, they could come in handy. Oh, one optional extra I've got with me is tea making stuff, but you don't tend to carry that, do you, Bob?
No.
You've got to usually carry a cold drink, don't you?
That's right. Right, we're going to have a look.
Right, I'll just go out here. Anyway, I wish you luck, Bob.
Yep, I'll speak to you later.
I expect you'll catch one. Well, here we are, about 1,000 miles from home. A lot of anticipation, hoping to catch a big cat. Fish of a lifetime. A lovely feeling. Absolutely magical. Water's very, very coloured. Thick brown colour, looks like soup. The plan was that if Bob hooked a big cat, he would signal us with a single blast of his whistle. He hadn't been gone an hour when 5 blasts of a whistle had me quickly pulling up my anchor to go and give him a hand. Bob's cat, at 68 pounds, proved to be his biggest fish from Spain, and early the next morning I was into a real monster that turned out to be a fish of a lifetime. Yep. It doesn't really feel a bad fish. Let's get this other rod in. Unfortunately, it's got out into the current. Just have to wait for it to slow down a bit. Really just a matter of waiting. Wait for it to slow down. God, it's heavy. These rods don't bend much, unfortunately, but they're very powerful. It's just holding its own at the moment. That's coming up to the right there now. Other rod's in yet. This feels a very good fish. Normally the smaller ones they shoot off and then you turn them pretty quickly, but this one's more slow. Just holding its own out there at the moment. I think it's turned this way though. Oh, blimey. Can't be many fish on this planet that fight like this. Why'd you go catfishing, they say. This is why. Hello, swimming towards me now. I think this is going to be a big one. God, certainly hurts your arms. This feels a good fish. Oh, it feels a bit funny. You know, they twist on the line.
It's funny, you get two types of fights, don't you? You get these deep ones or surface ones. I don't like the surface ones at all.
It's coming in there. You got a net ready?
Yeah, I'll cross over into your boat. This net's a bit better than that one we used yesterday. This is the bigger one.
Oh yeah. Now, where's that anchor? I've got to remember where that anchor rope is. This is coming in now, Bob. Oh, bloody hell, it's big. Quick. Don't want it going under that boat.
Let's just let some of this net sink a bit.
That is a big fish, isn't it?
I saw its head, mate. I could see it was a big fish. Right, you can get him to the surface without...
I keep him away from that anchor.
If I let the net go round like that, and then you let him drift in as soon as you get him up.
Yeah.
Because it's all like these big nets.
Oh, there's a whisker, mate.
Oh. Ah, he's doing one of them.
Right, you get that net down a bit and I'll see if I can pull him over it.
Oh, I don't know. He's dived into the net.
I don't think the tail's in, is it?
Yeah.
Got it. Well done, mate. Right. Oh my God.
Fish, mate. Can you lift him?
Not really.
No problem.
That is a big fish.
Right, I'm going to go up the bank.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to go fully. Oh. Right, are we going to do this in one swoop?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's a big fish, mate. Well done. Bloody hell. Good job I ain't going to lift it.
Crikey, that must be getting over 100, mustn't it?
Yeah. Let's unroll him and have a look.
Look at the shoulder on it. Let's get the hook out.
Look at that, mate. Remember, you always look at the scissors.
Yeah, there's nearly always, isn't they?
Wow. Look at the size of that, mate.
Oh, I've got my rig back. Right, shut that out of the way. Look at the hump on it, look.
I've already dunked with this, and I've zeroed the scales.
Right.
We roll him in, he's not going to fit in this.
Honey?
Well, he'll have to be killed slightly. Right.
Hang on, let me get hold of his chin. I might lift him a little bit. Oh, a magnificent fish, isn't it?
Yeah, let's still get his tie in. We'll have
He
to
fought
tie.
well.
We'll have to tie, mate. Oh, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to lift. I'm already knackered already.
That was on a small bait, that was as well. It's not always big fish, big bait, is it? Big bait, big cat.
It's already zeroed, mate. £2 to come off for the weight of the net, the sack.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to lift this, am I?
No. It's always a problem.
I might have to do it again.
Well,
What you got?
I've got bang on £100 on there at the moment. And you've got £2 to
You
come
got
off.
one, have you?
Yeah.
I'll have to do it again, hang on. That's not quite going to be 100 then.
Yeah.
Spanish record's 99, you better look at this carefully.
I'm afraid you got... Yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to get that, mate. You're going to get 98, though. Yeah, just slightly under the 100. Take a couple of pounds off for the sling.
What, 97?
97 and a half, 98. Yeah. All right.
So what's that, 67?
67.
68? And what do you say this was, 90 what? 97?
Well,
98?
97 and a half, something like that.
97 and a half? This does, I mean, they normally look huge, but they look small compared, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that. When you think they can grow to 500 pounds, that's quite amazing, isn't it?
Just lay that there like that, look. Yeah, let me lay on the back, because I'm 5'5".
You're going to get dirty.
Look at that. That's as long as me. Look.
That looks so much bigger than that, doesn't it? And these look huge normally.
Well.
Right, shall we hold them?
If we can. We're going to put your tail that way? Or
Yeah.
straight across?
Yeah.
My old mate Diddy ain't going to be very happy when he sees the state of his trousers.
Try and find somewhere to hold.
Very, very difficult.
Is it right under there? That's where you normally hold pike, isn't it?
I would go to the other side.
This side?
Yeah, and slip in like this, look, Kevin. You see where I slipped in? Then you're not damaging it at all.
You're a pike man, you know how to do it. Oh, there's no way I'm going to lift this. No way.
Can I move across to yours slightly, or?
Oh, I can't lift it anymore.
We just push that around.
I reckon this is over 6 foot. One or two stills would be nice.
Oh dear. I think, like, would you? There's such a difference in size.
Yeah.
Got it.